Central Australia, home to two national icons. Uluru, formerly Ayers Rock, one of Australia's most famous landmarks, and Kata Tjuta, once known as the Ogres. Both have many stories passed down through generations of the original occupants, the Anangu, thought to have been custodians of this land for at least 25,000 years. There's also the geological story that starts some 800 million years ago, and to appreciate that, we need to move west towards the Petermann Ranges. What we now know as Australia was once part of a larger supercontinent, Rodinia, and right where Uluru and Kata Tjuta now stand, an ancient inland sea, largely devoid of life forms, occupied what is called the Centralian Superbasin. Just over 500 million years ago, our planet was undergoing some big changes. Life too was about to explode into diverse and complex forms, the so-called Cambrian explosion. At the same time, massive movements of the Earth's mantle pushed up the Petermann Ranges to heights greater than the present Himalayan mountains. Rapid erosion of these mountains resulted in increasing alluvial deposits of sediment, carried by fast-flowing rivers into the Centralian Superbasin, from which the inland sea would eventually disappear. The sediment grew thicker and heavier, depressing the underlying earth and crust to form a layer of compressed sandstone some 3 to 5 kilometres thick and over 100 kilometres in length. Continued underground stresses caused deformation and folding of this dense sandstone layer, with any folds exposed to the surface rapidly eroded. The constant stresses eventually caused splitting and fracturing of the sandstone. Geological faults appeared with slippage of parts of the sandstone against each other. Uluru and Kata Tjuta are relatively small projections above the Earth of several folds of a massive underground layer of dense arkose sandstone, many kilometres thick. What we see of Uluru and Kata Tjuta are only the tips of a proverbial iceberg. Uluru is simply magnificent, and magic too. Its enormous size, rising 348 metres above the Earth, its hidden and mysterious body under the Earth, and, relative to our time span, its timelessness, probably contribute to the spiritual attachment of the Anangu to this entity. And let's not forget, Uluru has its genesis around the same time our ancestral life took off on Earth. Uluru stands as a monument to our own life story. Like a giant's foot stomping the earth, we must remind ourselves that there is so much more of Uluru than we can see. Uluru has seen many changes of landscape around it, ice ages, lush tropical forests, and yes, Uluru saw the dinosaurs come and go. Uluru saw humans arrive tens of thousands of years ago. Will it see us disappear too? Ghost gums are common on the red sand flats around Uluru, but can also be seen on dry creek beds. and where you wouldn't expect to find a tree, on rocky slopes. The Field of Lights display, with Uluru in the background, is well worth a visit. With the setting sun and Uluru in the distance, the lights add that transcendent message. In British artist Bruce Munro's words, the random pathways represent traversal through time, my past, our present, Uluru's timeless future. A flat path of approximately 10 kilometres encircles Uluru, with most people walking it in 3 to 4 hours. We chose a guided Segway tour, which, allowing for frequent stops for the guide to explain features of the rock, took about the same time. Cycling is also popular along this path. You can see the base walk and our green recorded path on this satellite image of Uluru. The track closely hugs the rock except for the northeast corner where, for cultural sensitivity reasons, visitors are asked not to photograph any feature on that aspect. Book a helicopter flight to further appreciate the grandeur of Uluru and its stark contrast to the surrounding desert. A phone app GPS tracking map, such as TerraMap, enables one to better appreciate the flight perspectives and the relationship of Uluru to Kata Tjuta. In Anangu tradition, the Mutitjulu waterhole is the sacred location of the Kuniya and Liru story that depicts a fierce battle between two ancient beings, Kuniya, the Woma python, and Liru, the venomous snake. The results of that battle are represented by cracks in the nearby wall and a boulder lying near the waterhole. Kata Tjuta was once called the Augurs. Its highest dome rises 546 metres above the plain, quite a bit higher than Uluru's 348 metres. It also has a bigger footprint. Its 36 giant domes covering more than 20 square kilometres compared to Uluru's 3 1/3 square kilometres. The green line shows our recorded helicopter path. The pink line, our walk into the impressive Valley of the Winds, an area also considered culturally sensitive with photography not permitted. We were allowed to share, with the appropriate permit, photographs of nearby Warpa Gorge. One standout feature that therefore distinguishes Kata Tjuta from Uluru is the texture of the sandstone. Kata Tjuta, with its chunkier rocks, has a heavy textured conglomerate appearance resembling cobblestones sticking out of cement. Both Uluru with its single monolithic appearance and Kata Tjuta with its deep valleys are impressive features of the desert and within relative short distance of each other. But if you have the time, a 3-hour drive east past Lake Amadeus and then north will bring you to Kings Canyon in the George Gill Range. Kings Canyon formed more than 400 million years ago as erosion carved the deep valley through 2 layers of different sandstone. The walls either side of the valley are more than 100 metres high, with Kings Creek at the base, represented by the blue line, supporting a lush ecosystem of possibly more than 600 species of native plants and animals. The rim walk of approximately 6 kilometres takes typically 3 to 4 hours at a leisurely pace. It's worth the effort if you don't mind the initial 500 steps up a steep hill, sometimes called jokingly Heartbreak Hill or even Heart Attack Hill. From there on, however, the walk is relatively easy, so don't let those tour guides put you off. But of course, be sensible. The walk is typically in a clockwise direction and starts with a trek through Priscilla's Crack, named after the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which featured this part of the track. Here the guide talks to us about the flora, especially the McDonnell Ranges cycads, a very ancient fern common to the area. As we continue our walk through Priscilla's Crack, we arrive at a broad, flat arena. It is here that we see evidence of shallow lakes that occupied a windswept sandy plain 400 million years ago. Ripples in the sand under a shallow lake have been preserved all that time. The guide talks to us about ghost gums that seem to grow out of rock.
Because I'm Namatjira and I paint the ghostly gum, and that's this tree we can see here. So it does have a sap that has quite powerful antiseptic properties. You can't swallow it, but you can kind of chew on it, and it can help to close over wounds as well. And at a certain time of year it will have like a white powder that comes.
The track then takes us close to the northern edge of the main canyon, but we are strictly advised to maintain a 3 metres distance from the edge. Someone kindly took my photo. We leave the northern edge of the main canyon and continue in the direction of the smaller northern arm of the canyon. As we descend some steep stairs, more ghost gums, cycads and other vegetation dominate as we move closer to the creek. Stairs await us on the other side of the North Arm Canyon. We cross a bridge to the other side and look back at where we've come from, the stunning north arm of Kings Canyon. Many of us take the stairs down to the Garden of Eden at the juncture of the canyon's north arm with the main canyon. At this juncture, Kings Creek widens into a pool and then disappears through a crack in the cliff to continue its path in the main canyon. McDonnell Range's cycads feature prominently in this magical part of the canyon. Our rim walk soon takes us to the southern side of the main canyon, the Garden of Eden now hidden from view just beyond the crack in the wall at the end of the canyon. All in all, we now see Central Australia as in many ways the heart of Australia, with its rich cultural heritage now better understood, having witnessed the beauty and timelessness of this vast land.